Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
What?
Just come in aggressive as usual.
Right.
I got anger management issues.
Let me move this out of the way before you.
Right. You know, I wear 12s.
I don't.
Don't laugh too hard. You go see it choked up. See, look at there you go. He already coughing.
We got a good one for y'all this week. Welcome to Sipping on Excellence, everybody.
Welcome to another episode. This is what we do.
Raw, uncut, unfiltered.
Why you got baby hair?
Them lace fronts. He's talking about our logo up there. Our cartoon caricatures.
Right.
Hold on. Why it look like you got a diamond on your tooth on the side there, right?
It looked like a diamond on the side and in between the middle.
Mm-hmm. Matching that ice in his ear.
Oh, my God.
Right. And I just noticed that.
And I got hazel eyes.
Right? Shit, mine are honey colored.
Right. Look, almond roca.
Shout out to Rashid. Brother, thank you for making that happen.
Right. We appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
In the streets of, not L.A.,
Beverly Hills, where neither one of us live.
You know, it's like all this time I'm just starting to really look at the picture like, wow. Okay.
But the good thing is that's iconic L.A., and that's where we are.
Yeah.
You know, this is home. Been home for us for many, many years. You since
all my life.
All your life. Me, 20 plus.
All my life, I had to fight. What movie is that?
Oh.
Come on, man.
Hold on. Give me a second.
It's coming back out again. I'm gonna put my hood on.
I don't know.
Color purple.
Oh, come on, man. You digging in the crates for something I only seen once.
Why you only seen that movie once?
It's my life. I can do what I want.
Okay. That's what they say these days. That's what the kids are calling it.
But yeah, man, we got a good show for y'all this week. We had a phenomenal live today. For those of you who weren't there, quick recap. we had a guest on, but he came on at the tail end and kind of brought it home, because I know a lot of you out there are probably like, we always hear Coach and Doc talking about their concept of men's thoughts. Right. And this brother of ours been married 13 years. He got kids. He's known me a long time. He's known Coach for a while. And it was good to see him jump on. But we talked about how some women can't let shit go.
Right.
And how they bring up old shit. And just sort of that whole realm of.
Yeah. You know, Erykah Badu had a song about that. Bag lady.
Yes.
That's basically what it was about.
Yeah,
holding on to your shit.
Yeah.
You holding on to that old stuff, man.
And it doesn't, where does that get us?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve us. And why do people end up divided and far gone and divorced and separated and
it goes back to
physicalities.
Well, think about it. It goes back to communication.
Always.
And accountability. Mm-hmm. People don't want to be accountable for their own actions.
No.
And it's easier to bring up old shit about you.
To get off of me.
Exactly. I'm going to steer the conversation away from me by bringing up old shit about you. And knowing, man, our memory's not what a woman's memory is. So we'd be like, did that happen last week or did that happen 8 months ago? Yeah. Either way, it's in the past.
Because when things come up about us, I think what ends up happening, we always go, is she right? Is she wrong? If she is right, okay, I need to get out of that. If she's wrong, is it worth the fight? in our heads, that's what we're going through, because we're going to be in that moment of like, okay, we're just going to serve how she's coming at me about me, but we're on me. So either you're going to deal with me in whatever way, but I'm going to deal with me in whatever way within that communication. I'm not going to put it back on you and say, well, you did this back in 1965, back when Christ was a cowboy. And we don't do that.
Because we get past shit.
Yeah.
We think it's been handled. We've discussed it. We've come to a conclusion. All right, good. I'm at fault. My bad. We think once we say my bad and we're sorry and we're genuinely sorry for making you feel a certain way, we move on.
Right.
Nah, that shit ain't over, because in their mind, they haven't processed it the way they want to process it yet. And if they still have unanswered questions or that it's not resolved in their mind, they don't tell you then and there. They tell you down the road by bringing it up again that it wasn't resolved.
And in some ways, I don't think they really wanted to process it. It wasn't processed because it never hit the conveyor belt. Well, it's in the store, but it never hit the belt to be purchased and move on.
But here's the other thing too. It goes back to the communication. Mm-hmm. And as you're speaking your truth, are they actively listening, or are they just waiting for a pause to rebut?
Yeah. Or they're only responding to the catchphrases or catchwords at that time.
Yeah.
That's going to serve whatever it is that they're thinking.
They're listening, waiting for the opportunity to question instead of just listening to understand. And people do that all the time. I think this is going to make a lot of people out there mad, but women do that probably more often. Men will sit back, and if we don't understand, rather than question you, we just say, okay, because we know it's going to start an argument. It's a fight we can't win.
Yeah. And not just a fight we can't win, a fight we just don't want.
We don't want to fight.
We don't want to fight. I don't like to argue. And I make it very clear I don't like to argue. So if you're choosing to argue, good luck with that.
But the thing is, we're also not the ones who sit there thinking, oh, shit's too good, let me stir the pot.
Right.
We look for peace. You look for drama and excitement. Mm-hmm. Because if it's peaceful, then something must be wrong. He must be up to something.
It's boring.
It's boring. It's not exciting.
It's not that next chapter leading into. It's like, come on.
Our world is exciting enough. Our world is dramatic enough. Can we not have it dramatic with y'all at home? Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a gist of what the live was about today. It was actually a very good one. If you guys missed it, next Saturday we'll have something else ready for you. Yeah. But every Saturday we go into discussing just the things that men think that you're not going to hear from us every day. Yeah. So we bring it out so that way y'all can process it.
Yeah.
Go home and digest it, do whatever you need.
I'm going to say this because it's our podcast, but, I come today, of course, with a heavy heart because my best friend, one of my best friends, dad just passed. And it made me think when we're talking about men and not speaking up or speaking out and we're always holding it in, being strong, we didn't know what health condition. He's 80. We didn't know his health conditions or what's going on. He didn't speak up about a lot of things. And
we hold it in.
And now everybody's suffering because he held it in.
And we hold it in, which makes our health even worse.
Yeah.
Because we internalize all of that.
Yeah.
Why? Because we feel we don't, and we talk about this all the time, we feel as men, we don't have the space to let it out. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, yes, you do. I'll listen to you. No, you won't. You hear us, but you don't listen. Mm-hmm. You hear our cries, but you don't understand or process that they're cries for help.
Right. Right. And why are there so many groups out there now about men and healing men and working with men and women working with men? Hell, I would listen to a podcast the other day and Ayala Van Zandt was talking about in her spirit right now, she feels that she has to help men,
Yep.
especially black men. She said because there's the missing elements, and we are suffering and suffering in level of silence. She said that's unbelievable. That is hurting her. That she felt like her discernment right now is to shut everything down and focus on men.
But think about this, you guys. How long she's been in this space, and she's just now coming to the understanding how men are suffering. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah.
She's been in the self-help author mode for 30 years or more.
More.
And now she's understand. So that proves to show that even the greatest minds aren't really paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, people don't pay attention to a man suffering until something bad happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever.
Suicide, pain pills, drugs, alcoholism, and let alone pornography and everything else.
Or you don't pay attention until him losing a job or until it affects you. As long as it's only affecting him, you don't pay attention.
Right.
The minute it affects you and you collectively, whoever is around that man, you don't pay attention until it affects your world. If he's able to manage his struggles and not let it touch you, you don't care to know. Ignorance is bliss until he loses his job and tells you, hey, I need you to step up and help pay half the rent. Oh, well, why? You're not man enough to pay the whole thing? Do you know what I just went through? I got fired because my boss is a racist, or I got fired because whatever the reason is.
Doesn't even matter.
I need you to support me, not beat me up. I'm already at my lowest point. Don't push me to even lower.
When you're saying that, it made me think about it because it came on the other day. Is dead presidents.
Okay.
Remember when he came back from Vietnam? He had to, just to beat him up job, and at the butcher, and his girl was just like, you ain't this, you ain't that, because she was getting paid by a pimp while it was a hustler, and it's just, it
goes with
man.
A man's not recognized for potential. A man's not recognized for the hustle. He's only recognized for the end game if he wins.
The outcome.
He's not recognized and praised for how he's playing the game. He's only praised when he wins. Mm-hmm. While the game is being played and he's doing everything in his power to better himself for you, it goes unnoticed until he is finally like, you can quit your job. Oh.
Yeah.
But while you got to take him through that, while you got to go through that struggle with him, a lot of today's women, not our generation or our parents' generation, a lot of today's younger women refuse to go through the struggle with their dude. Because social media has shown them that money can come quick.
Yeah.
The fake fantasy of social media has shown people, oh, everybody should be able to have this.
Correct. What's interesting is you saying that made me think about, and I just lost my train of thought.
It made him think that I
forgot. Damn it. It was a good point, too. It was just to bring up about oh, hell, who knows?
Anyway, but it's just like I said, we went off on a tangent, but that was sort of our recap of today's live. Yeah. We got a good topic for you guys today before we get into it.
And also our show is really about this as well.
Yes.
And how men have to start
being more like this.
Being more like this, yeah.
Our sip of the day, y'all.
BaeWatch.
BaeWatch. It is rum, pineapple juice, cranberry juice. 2 ounces of rum, an ounce of each of the others. Basically, rum and juice, how you feel like it should taste.
Yeah.
Brother, cheers. Let's get into this. And cheers to you guys.
I think the best part about this is it's going to sweeten the blow.
Yeah, it's gonna soften the blow too.
It's gonna sweeten the blow before. So you might want to get this cocktail because this blow is gonna be real.
Sit down, sip a little bit, settle into your seats because we don't give a fuck
or whatever it is that you're in.
So, Coach and I the other day were talking about how there are certain people that really don't give a damn
At all.
like they've lost their filter and could care less. They speak their mind. They don't care what people think. I mean, they care what people think, but they speak their mind. And here's the funny thing, because I remember asking my mom this question. I was like, at what age did you lose your filter? You know, because my mom, those of you out there who know her, know she will say anything to anyone at any time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, you might want to dial that back. Right? I've got to work with these people, you know? And she was like, boy, you know, I lost my filter a long time ago. And she really did, you know? And then you see some people, we always talk about, you want to get the truth, ask a child or ask an elderly person. Mm-hmm. Because if you go through life, you notice in the beginning, you don't have that filter because life hasn't given you experience enough to have one. Mm-hmm. You don't know the consequences of saying, Mom, why are you wearing that? It looks ugly. A 5-year-old will say that.
Of course.
A 50-year-old might get his throat slit for saying that.
Right.
You know? And then you look at the end of the spectrum where you're 70, 80 years old, and like, damn, you gonna wear that? There's no filter.
Yeah.
Out in public. Why would you say something like that? Because I don't care. Fuck it. You know? Mm-hmm. It's those decades in the middle where we selectively filter, which makes life livable, right? Yeah. What would happen if we didn't have a filter?
Oh, be the purge every day. The absolute purge every day. Everybody will be getting off their chest exactly how they feel in that moment.
Yeah.
No, well, you know what? Not necessarily everyone. We were talking about this, the difference between men and women.
And it's the difference between emotional thinking and logical thinking.
Of course.
Take two very angry people. Who's going to react? And then who's going to act? Mm-hmm. You know? Who's going to think about it first and then act? Who's just going to react?
Right.
And reaction comes from emotion. Mm-hmm. Say, I slap you. Your instinct is going to tell you slap me back. Your logical thinking may be like, oh, if I hit him too hard and something happens to him, I might go to jail. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different when you're emotionally thinking, bam, bam.
And what happens with emotional thinking becomes emotional rationalization.
And then you think,
rationalize
exactly what you did. Uh-huh. And so that filter that we all have is what keeps us from going to jail.
Yeah. I had mine this past Monday.
Tell me about it.
Mother was out of town. I go over her house. I'm putting her trash cans up. The next door neighbor, who's this kid that grew up with my brother, and his family is just kind of like, you know, he's been in and out of jail since he was young, and he's just not in his clear mind. And he, of course, drinks. When he drinks, they don't let him in the house. So he's outside, but he's wreaking havoc in the neighborhood. He's talking to everybody that comes by, whatever.
Right.
And he always wants to relive the past and rehash the past. And I told him, I said, I drove up. I'm in a rush because I was coming. No, it was Tuesday because I was coming here.
Okay.
I'm running. I'm putting cans up, and he's like, hey, Kenny, what's up? I said, James, what's going on, man? Listen, I'm in a rush. I gotta get back to work, man. I'm just trying to put these cans up.
Right.
Because he wants to stop. You know, he's oh, you think you better? I was like, hey, wait, whoa. You think you bet? Nobody said anything like that.
I just said I gotta go.
I said I gotta go back to work. He's like, well, I'll work too. You think you better than me? And I was like, man, look. So I just kept putting up cans, went across the street to my aunt's place, put up her cans, and he's still popping off the gums. I was like, and He had one more time, and he was like, I was like, let me get in the car. I
Just
got
let me
way
leave.
more to lose. I got a wife. I got a house.
Right.
I got a career. He is on probation, so one shot, he's back to jail. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
my rationale
Is
served me.
Let me just pull back.
Yeah, because I want to lay pause. After a while, I just want to lay pause. You only have so much with me.
I can only hold off so much.
Bro, I am the nicest guy in the world, but once I get to a point and it just gets under my skin too much, I'm ready. I'm ready, and I don't come out.
No, I feel you. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is that shit is very real. And there are certain things that lower that threshold.
Yeah.
For example, this cocktail.
Yeah.
Lowers that threshold. People call it beer goggles. People call it liquid courage. It's basically the pores on your filter become much bigger and a whole lot more slips through. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not always a good thing because this takes you out of that mode of logical thinking. You know, and so those of us who have strong minds can still squeeze down that filter a little bit because we rationally think, oh, I wouldn't say this if I was sober. So let me just dial this back. Let me just dial back everything so I don't look stupid. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. But I don't give a fuck comes with various things. I don't give a fuck mentality comes when you're the smartest person in the room. It comes when you got the most money in the room. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Elon Musk.
He does not give a fuck.
Remember, did you see the interview when they were talking about X?
Yes.
And how Disney decided to pull out and advertisers are starting to pull out. And he said something so real. He's like, you're going to blackmail me with money? But you're going to blackmail me with saying I'm going to take away money? He's like, go fuck yourself. GFY.
He said it multiple times.
And he's like, camera, advertisers, and he named the CEO of Disney and was like, go fuck yourself. That right there is wealth not giving a fuck. And when you're arguably top 3 richest people on the planet, that gives you a certain sense of go fuck yourself. But what it also gives you is a sense of arrogance and a sense of I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. And that shit's not cool either. I like that you can dial it back and be like, I don't care. Do what you want.
Right.
But then you also don't treat people well.
Right.
And can you truly say, I don't give a fuck, I have no filter, and care about the person sitting across from you? I think for you to truly care, you have to have a bit of a filter because you care about how that person is going to react to whatever's going to pop off from your mouth, right? So I think your I don't give a fuck meter varies
it does.
based on the company. You know?
It does. It does.
And let's talk about, I'll say, me and my career. Over the years, I used to always care if a patient was unhappy with, biggest thing is time. So if a patient comes to see me, somebody did this the other day. Patient came to see me, and their appointment was, say, like 1:30. Mm-hmm. It was 1:38, and I was coming down the hall, and the patient walks out of the room and was like, when's the doctor coming to see me? 8 minutes after their appointment. And I was like, well, I'm the doctor. Oh, well, my appointment was at 1:30. I'm like, and it's 1:38. I was like, you spent 2 months waiting to see me. you can't wait 15 minutes. So it's either you wait till I see this patient or you leave, reschedule, and take another 2 months to see me
Right.
instead of you waiting an hour or 45 minutes or 30 minutes.
Whatever that is.
Rewind 5 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, I'm so sorry I'm behind, but just give me a few minutes. And I start explaining myself. I'm like, man, there's a million people who are appreciative of my time. They know that when I sit in front of them, they're going to get all the time they need with me or that they want. So that means I may be a little bit behind because I am doing the exact same thing I'm going to do for you with somebody else before you.
Yeah.
So my I don't give a fuck has, in that realm,
Your meter.
my meter has been slowly going away because I'm not going to let people mistreat me or my time for their own self-interest because I thought I needed them.
Yeah.
And I've started realizing you need me way more than I need you. Mm-hmm. And I would rather take care of the people that need me and appreciate me than that. But it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's, like, for example, think about your days when you first started out at Equinox a million years ago. The shit you put up with when you first started versus the shit you put up with when you finally was like, I'm out.
I'll tell you what, it's actually even more different. It was a time that I was independent. I was independent for 10 years prior to coming to Equinox.
Okay.
And when I came to Equinox, it was me just trying to get established back in LA.
Yeah.
So my meter was already a little different anyway because I've already dealt with a lot of shit from, you know, I've built a business, watched a business completely fall off and lose through the market, then moved to LA and starting fresh. So it was a little different. So by the time, and I've been through divorce.
Yeah.
So my mindset's already like, man, I don't care about nobody. You know, so I kind of came in with an intention like I'm taking care of Kenny because for every client that I was getting inside Equinox, I was getting one outside.
Okay.
So I get 1, 2 inside. So I really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Also to show that I didn't care. So they have this thing where you have to put all your programs in the system. But people basically copied my program anyway. So I was just like, it's intellectual property. I'm not putting it in the system. They're like, well, I'm gonna have to write you up. I said, where do I sign? Right. So they didn't write me up either because I didn't give a fuck.
Right.
But my mindset was I was going to take better care of Kenny.
Yep.
And that from dealing with the marriage, the divorce, the
move,
the move, you know, the loss of everything, that I didn't care. Yeah. I've already been through a tough series.
Right.
I'm walking around smiling every day. So by the time I got done with Equinox, I was just like, oh, well.
All right. Been through worse.
Been through way worse.
Yeah. Right.
You know, way worse.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about, when we were talking about the dynamic of kids and older people, the funny thing is kids are just receiving information.
Yeah.
How they see it, and they're throwing it back out there. They don't have an understanding or visible idea of or thought about mortality.
And they also don't know how they've never seen people react to what they spit back out. They receive this information and they spit out everything because they've never seen somebody react negatively or positively towards what they're going to spit out.
Yeah.
If they spit something back out and somebody's like, you should never say that to somebody, immediately that takes it in and they'll never do that again. Mm-hmm. You know, or they'll look at it as, oh, that's bad, and I'll only do it when I'm trying to hurt somebody.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's why their initial filter, and they develop the filter as it goes on. You know, it's interesting when you look at developmentally delayed patients, or you look at patients with Down syndrome.
Okay.
No real filter. But their filter, which is very interesting, they don't have a filter to the affection and the happiness they show towards people. So that's why when you see kids with Down syndrome or adults with Down syndrome, they're very touchy-feely, affectionate. I love you.
Yeah. There's
Because we always talk about a filter for bad stuff, but we also have really tight filters for expressing how we feel about people in a good way too, because we filter it because we don't know if how the person across from us feels. So is a guarded filter that protects us. The other filter protects other people. We have a filter that protects us.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever I don't think you have a I don't give a fuck meter when it comes to showing your expression and love for other people, because you never truly express it all.
Oh,
you always hold back a little bit. And I think you die with that filter.
Yeah. Which is interesting because you think about the dynamic of today, life, people, cancel culture, everything else, young women, old women, just everybody's like, oh, well, I'm offended. So now we're scared to actually show a level of affection in many ways, especially as men.
Oh, for sure.
Out of fear, it's like, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to go to jail.
Right. But think about it even in a positive light, how something as simple as when we do complaints on Yelp or when we give feedback about about an experience like a hospital or something, we filter the good comments. We will blast for paragraphs on the bad shit. Why? I don't know. We are such a negative society that we have no problem, no filter putting out shit that will hurt people, but we will hold back and guard putting out things that will make people better. Explain that to me.
I don't get it, because that's the reason why I wrote the testimonial I wrote for
Natalie.
For Natalie.
Yeah.
Because I think she needed to hear it from a professional that's close to her, that's parallel with her in industry, that is a patient.
Yep.
That has been around, has seen it all, done it all, she needed to hear from different components.
Yep.
So that way it'll be well understood by anybody that's reading this testimony. But everybody can read that testimony. It's like, I got something out of that.
Yeah. But you see too many times people, like I said, you'll have testimony. Again, I always go back to Yelp.
Yeah.
Because people are quick to drop their filter and just diarrhea of the mouth about something bad.
And you notice they never say, write a Yelp review about something good.
No.
They always say, write a Yelp review.
Yep.
If something happened. Oh, I'm going to write a Yelp review. Never hear, I had such a good time at that restaurant. I'm going to write a Yelp review.
Like, people will tell me all the time, your staff is so helpful. Your staff is this. Your staff is that. The nurses are so great in the hospital. And I just look at them and I'm like, thank you for letting me know. Now tell them. I'm like, seriously. I'm like, I will pass it on, but you can call my office and speak to the exact person you're talking about and let them hear it from you. Are you afraid to tell them that you really think they're phenomenal? I know they're phenomenal. That's why they work with me. That's why I pay them. I bonus them, and I tell them every day, this doesn't happen without you. Nurses in the hospital get shit on all the time because patients feel like nurses a lot of times will get treated like flight attendants.
Oh, I know.
You owe me this because you're here for me. You don't understand how without them, your life experiences with your illness would be you die. So if somebody is doing something for you and you had a good, even a mediocre experience, but you got better from it, tell them. Pull them aside and be like, you're a great nurse. I really like you. Don't tell me 6 weeks later, oh, my nurse in the hospital was so great. I don't even know who your nurse was at that point. Go tell them. Give them a standing ovation. It's a little card that we fill out at the hospital for when people do good. There's way more complaint letters that get sent than standing ovation letters, although there is 95% of people have great experiences and 5% of people don't. Help me understand that. Why? Because people have a good experience and they're selfish and they go live their life. People have a bad experience. They want the world to know, even though they're the minority. Mm-hmm. And so that filter in that respect is gone. The negative filter, I think we lose our ability to filter out the negative way early in life, too early in life.
I agree.
And we keep the filter of the positive filter, so long that it takes us a lifetime to figure out how to open up to somebody. And I think this goes back to the difference between men and women. Men, people call it a wall, a guard. We keep our filter on because if we open up our filter and become vulnerable, we're looked at as weak. If women don't filter, keep their filter on and don't share, they're looked at as being masculine. Why is not sharing a masculine feature?
You know what?
Right?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
It's funny you say it because it also draws me to when I made yesterday's post about being sensitive. And when I made that post and I was looking up, like I want to put up a quote. Let me look up some quotes. How come it was so hard to find a quote that didn't favor being too sensitive? Every quote was in favor of sensitivity. It was to pat him on the back. It's okay. Let me rub your arm. It's okay to be sensitive. Every single quote that was up. I mean, and I was scrolling.
Yeah.
I was scrolling. I kept looking up different ways to try to find. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Yep. I know somebody of importance out there has to have something to say
right.
that being too damn sensitive is not of service to you. Right. Being sensitive is bringing awareness, but being too damn sensitive is not serving you. It's not serving anything except for your own inner frustrations. And it took the
Dalai Lama.
I was like, bingo!
Go look at that post. Hopefully, it's still up in the stories for the SOE.
It's a main post.
It's a main post.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what sparked this conversation between Coach and I also is when we were trained the other night, I pointed out a post, a story that I showed with the lion. Remember that? And the last statement that was made in that post, it said, "I love hard, but I give a fuck even harder."
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like, I will love you, but the things I don't give a fuck about, I give a fuck way harder than I do.
Right.
And I think as a man, we have to do that in order to survive because the world dumps a lot on us. Mm-hmm. People asked me the other day, why I am the way I am. I was like, because we carry the weight of the world.
But when they ask that question, what does that mean?
They're like
how are they saying you are?
Well, they're saying like somebody called me a robot.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been told that numerous times.
Was it a?
It's always women that are like, you're a robot.
But are they women that work with you or
in general? Yeah.
Okay.
Friends of mine, women that I work with, women that I've dated, that over the years have always been like, you're a robot. They're like, you're nonstop. You just go, and you're just a robot. You don't show emotion. I was like, no, I just don't show it to you.
No, you should say, I don't give emotion. I show emotion. I just don't give it out freely.
Yeah, it's like, I just don't show it to you because you wouldn't know how to handle it. I have emotions. I'm not emotional. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. And if that makes me look like a robot because I'm not emotional like you, and so you don't understand it. It's okay not to understand it.
And she needs to give it a label.
Because you got to put something on it.
If you don't, you got to put something on it.
Got to put something on it.
If it doesn't have a label, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. I don't know how to describe it, but you're just like a robot. You don't care. No, I care. I'm just not emotional with how I care.
How do you put a robot and care in the same?
Well, I must be a robot because I don't care. I'm like, But yet you see what I do every day and how I am with my patients and my friends. And fuck that, how I am with you. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be this way with you. Whether you're my friend or whoever who's calling me a robot. I'm just not emotional because I'm a rational thinker. Ask my mom. I deal with my mom with rational thought, not emotion.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't love my mom. No, it just means I am a rational thinker when it comes to decision making.
Yeah.
Call it a robot. Robots are efficient. You know?
Well, maybe that's it. It's you are looking for the most efficient route.
Yeah.
And
I don't have time to waste.
You don't want to BS the time. If I want to just sit and just spew all these thoughts and feelings in the world, you would never leave the house.
I got time on Thursday. Can I see you? You want to go to dinner? No? Okay. Well, you're not going to ask me why. You just said no. So I said, okay, let's move on. We'll pick a different day. See, that's what I mean. You're a robot. This is a conversation I had a few months ago. I'm like, no, I just don't care that you're not available because I know we can pick a different day.
Yeah. This day did not work. This is how. So right now I can give zero fucks about what was going on.
Right. I give zero fucks about your schedule because it'll work when it works for you. Yeah. I'm not going to let your lack of time consume me. I care about your availability because I want to see you. But if you can't see me today, I don't give a fuck because I know there's tomorrow. And if tomorrow never comes, then it didn't fucking matter in the first place.
And you didn't say, I don't give a fuck about you.
No.
I don't give a fuck
about you not having time today.
Because it's not going to be of service to me.
At all. I move on.
Of you or me, so we've moved on.
If you're not available today, I will fill that space with work.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Because I'm creating space for you. So whatever I use to push aside to create space for you, I'm going to push it back. That doesn't make me a robot. It makes me efficient.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And do I not give a fuck about your time? I give a fuck about your time. So that's why I'm giving you options. But I give a fuck more about my time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Yeah. I'm selfish when it comes to my time because my time is given to so many people all the time. So if I'm going to look at my time versus your time, I give a fuck way more about my time than yours.
Yeah. Well, that also goes into what we've talked about in the past several times, is especially for us men that are in a relationship and married, if you are chasing and you're giving too much of a fuck about how she's feeling and you're chasing her emotions, and she's moving forward and you're just running laps around her, guess what? You are not winning. You need to start giving zero fucks about how she's feeling in those moments of emotion and start giving more fucks about how you are feeling about yourself.
Right.
And living in the space of being great for yourself. She will relish in that greatness and start moving around that because it feels good.
And here's the thing. This is going to probably piss some people off. I don't give a fuck about your happiness if I am unhappy. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness for you.
Right.
If you can't find happiness within yourself, I'm not going to sacrifice happiness to try to give you happiness. Mm-hmm. Because that's the one thing I can't give you. So I don't give a fuck about your happiness if I'm unhappy. Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
In a nutshell.
You know?
And that's just respect.
I don't give a fuck about the trivial shit in your day if it truly doesn't affect life itself. Mm-hmm. Somebody made you mad at work. Voice it. Express yourself, move the fuck on. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck to think about it tomorrow. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yes, it affected you. Instead of you wanting to just sit in it and wallow in that misery, ask yourself why it affects you.
Didn't we talk about this recently?
And I keep bringing it up because people don't fucking understand.
It is
We're throwing a lot of F-bombs today, but it's because y'all need to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, the name of the show is Zero Fucks Given. So
Yeah.
it's getting to that place of having a little less F-bombs in your life by just having more F-bombs in your life.
And when you reach the stage of life where we are, Coach and I are on the back nine. So we've learned the things that are important to give a shit about and the things that we can't control, we shouldn't give a shit about because you can't do shit about it.
And we're still learning. That's the thing. It's continuous. It's not like it's like it's like 1, 2, and 3. It's like 1 through 1,000, 1 through 1,000,000. So we've been chipping away at it.
But this is life experience teaches you the things you should give a shit about.
This is Shawshank Redemption. Keep changing out the poster, just chipping away.
Yeah.
Chipping away. He did it for years.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where you will eventually learn how the more you could not give a fuck, the less stress you will have, the more longevity you will have, and being able to filter out the things that really matter that you should care about and not give a fuck about the rest.
Let me tell you something. You go to a bookstore, you go to the self-help section or whatever they call it now, self-improvement.
Yep.
There are so many books that say something, how to unfuck your life, how to be the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Right. You know, there's so many books that are in this space right now. And so many books.
And here's the funny thing. I've read none of them because at the end of the day, nobody can tell me what to give a fuck about. Nobody can tell me how not to, because I may not give a fuck about who wins the lottery tomorrow because it doesn't affect my life. I usually don't give a fuck about most things that don't affect me. It's figuring out what affects you, because people may think there are things out there that don't affect them, like war. It affects us all. But to turn a blind eye and say, I don't give a fuck, well, or politics. I don't give a fuck about politics. You should, because it affects you. You know, I don't give a fuck if this dude's wife is cheating on him. It doesn't affect me. So I don't care to hear the gossip because it doesn't affect me. So the minute you open your mouth and I look at you with this blank stare like I've stopped listening, because I probably have.
It is a blank stare.
Because as soon as you start talking and I don't give a fuck, I'm thinking about shit I got to do tomorrow.
I was going to say, that's the robot signing off.
Right. And I'm looking dead at you. I'm looking dead at you thinking, God, you know, I really should call this patient tomorrow because we got to discuss this. And you're talking to me about some gossip shit you heard. If it ain't about me, I don't give a fuck. If it's about me and it ain't true, I don't give a fuck.
Like Dave Chappelle show, when he had the guy come talk to him about an idea he had for the show, and he's sitting there supposed to be with his wife, and he was that Minotaur, whatever it's called, with just the goat legs.
Yes, the centaur.
Just say, you're sitting there telling me about some crap I don't care about, and this is what I'm thinking because I'm shut off.
The only reason why I know it's a centaur because remember when we did that post about it, and everybody beat me up for calling it a minotaur. You don't know. I'm like, you know what the fuck I was talking about. Stop. You get the point,
right?
But you just want to be heard and be seen, so you want to point out the negative shit instead of
that you know better,
right? Instead of the filter of saying, you know what? Yeah, he got that wrong, but it was a funny post, man.
Yeah.
Congratulate me on that. Again, people want to point out the negative because their negative filters way less shit than their positive filter, which is the complete opposite of what this world should be doing. You know?
Which is why we have those trolls.
Dude, it's
trolls and trolls and trolls.
I think, you know, one thing you guys can take away from this podcast today is learn how to filter appropriately. Understand that the things that will cause you stress that you can't control, learn how to say, fuck it. The people in your life that bring you nothing but drama, look them dead in their eyes and pull a fucking Elon Musk and say, go fuck yourself. And mean it.
That's real talk.
And when you say it, mean it and don't let them come back. Because they're going to come back and bring you the same drama in a different fucking package. You know? So just understand that we're not saying don't give a fuck. We're saying don't give a fuck appropriately.
Exactly.
That's all we're saying, man. Great show today, man.
Yeah, man. I guess we got something to say on this show.
Listen up, y'all. Listen up, y'all.
Because this is it. And throw that. Let's dance. Are you from the South? You know that one.
Come on, man. Of course. Of course.
Oh, man. Where to go find you, Doc?
You can find me at Lionel Hunt on Instagram. You can find me at huntspine.com. Coach KJ.
At Coach KJ Knows on Instagram. And you're going to find me, CoachKJ.com. And you're going to find us at
SOE_podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to
on
find us
Instagram.
also on Instagram. And you're going to find us at podcastsoe.com. Dude, go to YouTube, Sippin on Excellence. I think we're the only one titled that on YouTube.
Yes.
Subscribe, like it, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Find us on every podcast
At least
platform.
you get to see why we're laughing so much.
Right? Every podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple,
Blah,
whatever.
blah, 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 blah.
Go check us
All
out.
of them.
If you want to continue hearing this, check us out. We out.